Hello, I'm Emily Edwards, an intern with Climate Film, and what you just watched was On the Edge, a compelling and adventurous documentary short film in our Southern Shorts category. With us today is the film director Katie Falkenberg. Katie, it's nice to finally meet you.
It's great to meet you, Emily. Thanks for having me.
I love saying that this film was outdoors and talking about the beauty of the great outdoors. Seeing that this was outdoors, what kind of equipment did you have to use to film and to catch the audio?
Yeah, it was very different than any other film I've ever done before, in that we were traveling very light because we backpacked in 22 miles and I couldn't bring my normal gear to use to film. And so I shot everything on the iPhone.
Oh,
And I was super curious because with these new iPhones, they're amazing the quality that they can capture. So I filmed everything on that with an external mic and in an underwater housing and an Osmo at one point. But yeah, it was super simple. It was super run and gun. And ultralight was key to this entire experience, not just the filming part of it. We wanted our footprint to be super light in the backcountry. And, if I had filmed this in the way I normally do, I would have had to have a, like a huge raft. I would have had to
yeah.
hire somebody to pack all my gear and raft down the river with us. So we wanted to avoid that.
So you were the only one that as a crew to film this whole documentary, or did you have anyone else with you?
That was what I was doing. I hardly fished. I shot primarily all of it, but all of us had our iPhones, of course. And so other women on the trip shot a little bit here and there.
So it was a little bit of a all-inclusive group kind of project.
Yeah, we all contributed for sure.
Since you had a group of people with you in this film, what was it like to travel with these women and what kind of experiences did you gain?
The trip was incredible just in itself. These women and I had been friends for about a year, and we really saw each other at our best and at our worst and helped each other we all had experience in the outdoors and backpacking, but this trip was actually, we all admitted at the end, just kind of probably one of the hardest trips we've ever been on. And we've talked about how it was type 2 fun, like the only fun that you have once you look back at it. For the most part, it was a blast, but there were definitely times where, we really helped each other. Like when one of us was in the pain cave, we really chipped in and helped the other. And so it was a great experience.
Definitely. It looked like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As I watched the film that you've made, I saw that fishing was a big part of the film. Was it something that you and the other girls like to do, or is it just a part of the documentary to make it more impelling about what's happening?
No, these women and I know each other through fly fishing. We all started fly fishing on our own and were brought together through that. And so that was the point of this trip when, I had met these women through fly fishing, when I was working on a photo project about women in fly fishing, and we sort of became friends. And when talk of this trip came up, I was definitely in. Like as a participant, I knew I wanted to go. The point of the point of the trip was to access this very remote fishery that not many people get to. So that was definitely the goal.
It looked like you guys had a lot of fun fishing along, even if it was shallow. You guys looked like you were having a blast.
Oh yeah, it was a blast for sure. And I guess I felt like from the beginning, I wanted to go as a participant, but it wasn't until we started talking about logistics of the trip that so many things dealing with climate change came up. Like there were river closures throughout Montana because of high temperatures and fish populations. And there was wildfire, there was smoke season. There was there were wildfires happening. And so that when we started running into those things, I thought, my gosh, like is this is what we're facing now. And how powerful it would be to sort of marry these two genres of film, like adventure along with environmental conservation, which is kind of what the stories I like telling the most. And so that's when it turned from like a adventure, fun trip to I put my filmmaking hat on and just started thinking about like how to best tell this story.
So, in your film, you are showing that, because I heard in the film you did bring up how that you were trying to go at a certain time where the tides would be higher, but everything's always a month ahead.
Yeah.
Because
yes. And we faced like wildfire season had already started, which was, a month early. We were very aware of the fact that temperatures were really hot, and we tested the temperature of the water to make sure it was healthy for the fish to be, to be like fishing with the conscious and not fishing when the water is too hot for the fish. So, we were very conscious of the fact that we needed to be aware of the conditions that we were in.
While you were documenting with these people, fishing, hiking, rafting, did you gain a stronger connection? Since you've already known these people, do you feel like you gained a stronger connection with the time you shared on this long trip, this journey throughout the outdoors with just you guys?
Oh, of course. Yeah. It was incredible because we didn't see anybody. We packed one horse pack trip coming out, but for the most part, we ran into maybe two other people until the very end where, we were about to take out. We ran into one other group. But yeah, of course we bonded because it was hard. Like, it was really, the most challenging part was the hike in, but once we got on the river, there were of course challenges, and we were in these little pack rafts that we didn't have a ton of experience kayaking except for two of the women. So yeah, we just helped each other along the way, especially when food was running low, we all shared food. Did those sort of things.
So I saw that in the film itself that one of the rafts had a hole in it and one of the ladies had duct tape. Would you agree that duct tape was a big lifesaver in this film?
Of course. Well, duct tape fixes everything. For sure.
Why did you decide to, out of everything you could have used, why did you use the name On the Edge? Was there a special meaning or purpose behind that name for the film?
Yes, when I was working with Hillary Costantino, who was one of the women in the film, and she also wrote the script and narrated it, she had a line in there on the opening line of the film is talking about being on the edge when you're in the outdoors and how powerful that is for her. And that phrase just stuck with me, especially because I thought it could relate to both being on the edge, living out in the outdoors, experiencing these things in the backcountry, but also we're on the edge in terms of climate change. Like we are at this tipping point where we can decide whether we want to stop burning fossil fuels and work towards a more carbon-free world or not. And so I thought On the Edge really combined those two, which is really the combination, what the film is about.
But you guys were pretty much living on the edge while you were filming.
Yeah, totally.
So in the film, when you saw the mules hike, when you guys were just starting your hike, I heard one of the ladies be like, "Why didn't we do this?"
Yeah.
What was that like? Just a random surprise while you were filming?
No, I mean, that's how most people access this part of river is they hire pack mules and horses to get back there. And we, we had talked about that, but again, we decided we wanted our footprint to be like ultra light. And that, nothing against that. Of course, it looked enticing to be to have ridden horses in, but it was, I mean, it was all the more rewarding once we hiked in.
You literally left an imprint.
Yeah.
What kind of skills and strategy did you have to use while making a documentary with water and out in the wilderness?
Great question. The biggest challenge I found was keeping my phone charged, which was my camera. We had these small solar panels, but they were so painfully slow. But that's how we kept the cameras charged. That was the biggest challenge. And the other challenge was I was in my own pack raft kayak. So it was definitely a learning curve getting used to shooting while also having to steer my boat. And I also had my dog in the front. So that was definitely the biggest challenge was like being able to turn myself to film and then, floating backwards and being aware of rapids coming up. They weren't anything huge, but it was definitely a learning curve.
So the filming with being in the raft was probably your biggest learning experience throughout the film?
For sure.
For sure. What besides the like learning experience that you guys have gone throughout the film, was there any kind of story or meaning behind the film? Something that I felt like there was something there, but I could never put my hands around that. And I felt like there was definitely a meaning. What was that meaning?
Well, the point of the film was, to tell this story of a grand, once in a lifetime sort of adventure and trip, and hopefully at the same time motivate and inspire others to get outside and in turn want to protect these wild places, particularly as we see so many changes in our environment. Uh, the point is also to tell the story that I hope makes viewers think and consider what our role collectively as outdoor enthusiasts play in the future of these places and in protecting them.
So the big part of this film was you trying to tell the audience that will be watching this that we should be trying our hardest to protect our wildlife, like with a little bit of risk at hand.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge risk at hand for wildlife and for for everything. And I think that in the film it talks about how it's this there's this cyclical nature of being outside and that fueling this passion for these places and the need and desire to protect them. And so places aren't generally protected unless you care about them, and to care about them you have to be out in them. And so I just think there's this fine line that we're walking now, trying to figure out and question and just like internally think about towards ourselves. Like the film poses no answer. I think it presents questions that I hope people will ponder and think about. So yeah, how we act in the backcountry, or like how our footprint and our presence in wilderness is affecting those places that we love, sort of on an elevated scale now that our climate's changing so rapidly.
um, would you also say this film is a way to encourage people to go out into the outdoors with friends and family and experience this kind of stuff for themselves?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think all films that take when I watch a film that takes place in the outdoors and is like doing something I've never done before, I automatically think, oh, I want to do that. I want to learn how to do that. And hopefully by, yeah, presenting these beautiful wild places and in an activity such as fly fishing that can really um, inspire people to conserve and to learn more about conservation of our fisheries and our rivers, I'm hoping that this film does inspire people to do that.
Hey, one last thing. Is there anything else you would like to add or say about the film On the Edge?
No, I don't think so. Thank you for the questions.
Hey, thank you so much, Katie, for being part of the Klamath Film Independent Film Festival. On the Edge will stream on Sunday, September 18th at 2:52 p.m. in our Southern Shorts category.